A message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my pockets that deep.
deep.
With nothing to prove, I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. You see, they told me I'm the one that's gonna benefit. Never been a threat.
Welcome back, everybody, to the #1 sports betting vibe on the internet, Veterans Minimum. As you could see, in a pretty kick-ass studio, man. And I got my two dogs with me. First up, Alan. It's good to see you, bro. This is the first time we've done a pod together in person since you came to Vegas.
Right. Over a year ago.
Shit, for your birthday.
Long overdue reunion, yes.
The 3-0, right?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Let's get it. And then my dog, Tony.
Come on now.
Mr. Sunday Wash Club.
I mean, yeah, shout out.
Shout out to Sunday Wash Club. I think the last time I had you on the pod was in Vegas also.
That is correct. Man, it's been a minute, man.
Time flies, bro.
It does, man.
Because I was trying to remember when the last time I saw, I think it was, because I didn't see you in the summer, did I? When I came back?
Think so now.
Because you were away.
Oh yeah, I was in Croatia.
Fuck yeah, man.
So
It's crazy. It felt like yesterday too, bro. It's crazy being like constantly busy and shit. And then before you know it, like a year goes by. And I don't be coming back home often too much. But this time.
It is what it is.
I mean when
You
you're
be
productive,
busy.
when you're productive, time flies.
Yeah, shit, man. Tony, how you living, bro? Tony, by the way, Tony blessed me. I forgot which UFC it was, but it was it was December, the first year that I moved to Vegas. Tony took me to the UFC. I was his +1. And it was a good time, man. And
Was it Izzy that was fighting? No, it wasn't Izzy.
no,
No, it was your boy Jared was fighting.
Jared was fighting Patty.
Yes.
And he got robbed.
He got
Oh.
robbed.
He got robbed. And then I
That
think
was
the
an
main
emotional
event.
night.
Yeah, the main event was Ankalaev and Blachowicz.
Oh, yeah.
Ended in a tie.
Ooh.
That was kind of a buzzkill, but it was a good ass time, man. And I'm happy to have you guys in here. Thanks for pulling through. We get to some NFL stuff at the end, but I want to talk about the NBA playoffs so far. Celtics beat the Cavs in 5. Not really a surprise. The betting lines were absolutely ridiculous. After game 1, when the Celtics won, they were minus 4,500, meaning you had to put up $4,500 to win $100. And even when the Cavs won game 2, which back-to-back series, the Celtics just blow game 2 at home, they were still like minus 2,000. So 2,000 to win 100. So it's not really a surprise.
But I'm sure a lot of people did parlays picking the Celtics to win game 2, right? They probably lost a lot of
Oh,
money, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because you're thinking, all right, that's guaranteed.
Yeah, the Celtics were 14-point favorites both times in game 2. One against the Heat, one against the Cavs. And then you also had, I think, both the Heat were like plus 800 and the Cavs were like plus 625 consensus. So yeah, the amount of times that people throw in that minus 600 in a parlay and they're like, this is a lock.
Yeah.
Just to get an extra like $2, those are the ones that kill you, bro. I know you're not much of a gambling
I'm
guy.
learning at the moment.
But man, like it's so dumb sometimes because people will have like 3 legs, right? And it'll pay like let's just say plus 600 just to make it simple. They'll see a minus 600 favorite and they'll be like, I'm gonna throw that in there. It's a lock. And then from plus 600, it'll go plus 635. You're like, bro, is it really worth 35 cents? But
Hey,
that's the game.
As long as you see that cash prize go up, you're like, shoot, why not?
And that's a big appeal. Like everybody wants parlays. I've always been talking about that. But Tony, how you feel about the Celtics, bro? Because my take is that there's just something about them all year. I still don't like. They're the favorite, and they've been the favorite to win the whole thing all year.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would take every team in the West over them.
Yeah, a lot of my group chat says that Jason Tatum isn't him when it comes playoff time. And as a New Yorker, I can't root for anything Boston related.
That's
so
a fact.
It's kind of like the hate in my heart, right? The bias hate in my heart. I'm just like, no, they suck. But really, if you're a basketball fan, you have to respect them. They're like really, really good. So if I were to like, let's say the Knicks close it out on Friday and, you know, it comes down to the Knicks versus the Celtics, most likely they're probably going to clean house with the Knicks and they'll make it to the finals. So, I mean, it all depends on health, right? Jason Tatum, he's known to fold during the finals. So I don't know. I think they're still going to be the favorites. Well, actually, the champions might be the favorite. The Nuggets might be the favorites. But you see what the hat says? Minnesota,
yeah.
right? So I'm a little biased on that. So I'm rooting for the Wolves. So if the Wolves make it to the next round, they'll most likely face, I'm guessing, Dallas. And I think they'll beat Dallas, so they'll probably go to the finals. So if it came down to the Wolves versus the Celtics, I mean, I think it's 50-50 right there. But I don't know. I'm just biased, bro. I'm all over the place with this. I just don't like the Celtics, so I don't know.
That's that New Yorker talking
Yeah,
right
man.
there. I feel you on that. Alan, how do you feel about this?
It comes down to late game execution because you've seen ever since Joe Mazzulla's become coach, anytime Boston's in a tight game, things just look discombobulated. Like, and you have good ISO players, whether it's Tatum or Brown, but it just seems like a late game strategy. It seems like they're all over the place. And now you have hopefully soon to be healthy Porzingis. You have options, but for whatever reason, they just don't seem to get it right when these games are close. And yeah, they should probably make it to the finals, but if they don't get it right in terms of these late games with 3 minutes left, can you really depend on them? And I don't think they have much of a bench either, which could come back to haunt them if they go. I know at this point in the year, like go to Denver. Denver doesn't really have much of a bench, but Boston, they don't have the great size either, unless of course Porzingis comes back. But it's just there's something unsettling about Boston, whether it's from Mazzulla and his late game strategy to them not always firing on all cylinders when they kind of should be. Like they should have probably swept both Miami and Cleveland, and they had their struggles.
Yeah, and there's something about Tatum too, man, because we want to put him in that top 5, like always be there. And shit, I bet on him to win MVP the last 2 years. I'm a little salty about that too. He did win the All-Star MVP, but that's not the one that I wanted him to win. I don't know, man. There's something about the Celtics that, and I know the KP injury is big, but just too many of the guys they rely on go completely ghost in big spots. And I'm a big spot guy. Like I always value teams on like, yo, are your main 2 guys gonna show up when it matters most? And if you just look at like the NBA the last couple of years, all the top 2 guys on teams have delivered when it matters. Go back to the bubble. It was AD and LeBron. You go back to the Milwaukee, the Bucks, right? You had Middleton at the time, and you had Giannis, and then you had Drew as like a luxury, like, oh shit, you're delivering too. That's dope. And then you had Steph and Clay, and then you had Jordan Poole in that run too. So it's just always something. And then obviously Jamal Murray and Jokic, right? So, but like, dude, Jaylen Brown last year was so shitty in the conference finals that when he got that $300 million contract, people were like, yo, that's a horrible contract. But he's balled out this year. But again, it's like until you get to that spot, there's always going to be question marks. So I don't know, man. It's just been something with them. Like,
So what you're trying to say is they're never firing both at the same time, like Brown
Very
and
rarely.
Tatum. Yeah,
very
I can see that.
rarely.
Okay,
And like when they had KP in the lineup, like they were
they're nice.
beasting. Bro. You know, like they were a problem. And again, you got to wait and see what happens with him. And you mentioned the Knicks before, and we'll get into that series right now too. That's why these injuries blow, bro, because
Yeah, man.
I really think you were talking about the bench before with the Celtics. Yo, I heard some people slandering like Leon Rose in the front office for the Knicks about like the bench. It's like, bro, the whole bench is hurt. If the bench wasn't hurt for the Knicks, you'd be talking about they could go 10 deep. Well, Tibbs probably like
Tibbs
8.5.
don't do that, man.
Yeah, but
Doesn't know what that means.
their bench wasn't a liability. Like it was actually going to be, if you were looking at the teams now, they'd probably have the best bench in the playoffs left. If those guys weren't hurt, where now it's you have no bench because all those guys are hurt. And the thing with me with that series with the Pacers and the Knicks is, both teams look completely different on the road, and that's why I hope the Knicks win on Friday. We're recording this Thursday afternoon, but I think it goes
7,
I think it goes 7.
and then the Knicks win back home.
Yeah, I think every team just takes care of business at home. It feels like one of those series because Halliburton in Indy was all NBA, in New York, he's kind of gone ghost, especially that last game.
Yeah.
And in game 1, what do you have? 4 shot attempts, and then the last game he had 6.
Yeah, other than game 2, he's not looked like himself.
He hasn't. And there's a dude who's like one of the 15 best players in the league this year. And then Brunson delivers everywhere. He's been delivering. But then are you going to get the DiVincenzo 35 piece again? You can't count on that. His point total is 16.5 on rebet. So it's not something that those games are when you have to capitalize on it. So I don't know, man. I just feel like that series everybody's winning at home.
But if you were to like say, all right, which team is more scrappy? It's clearly the Knicks, right?
Oh, for sure.
So
yeah.
you would always pick the more scrappier team.
Yeah.
Pacers are not good defensively. That's one thing you watch and it's just like, okay, Miles Turner, he could be enforcer, but on ball defending, team has nothing. Like you look at all the metrics, they were like bottom 10 every major category.
Bro, every game they were playing was like 157 or 143 for the longest period of time during the regular season. And it's also a young team. And I wonder if a young team going to play in the Garden where it's a pretty hostile environment. Like the Garden is one of the, I think, true home court advantages left in the playoffs. Like Boston, I think, is 16-15 in their last 31 games in Boston. So you think of TD Garden being the whole shit, you can't go in there to play. Bro, they lost a game 7 last year in the conference finals after being down 3-0. You're like, yo, shit, 3-0? You got game 7 at home? You get spanked by Miami. So I think the Knicks, if they were healthy, bro, I really think they would be able to beat the Celtics. But I think the OG injury was the one that was the most devastating.
Yeah, he's the ultimate X factor.
And he had his best game ever too. And then he gets hurt. And you're like, fuck, man. That game 2 that he had.
He's kind of like a Kawhi 2.0, right? Or is that like putting him too high up there?
I think if you factor in how injury prone he is too. I think the last 4 years he's played 125 games. It's 82 game season, so he hasn't even made it through 2 seasons.
Kawhi's just more of a gifted scorer. Well,
no, I think like two-way player, quiet, got the size, defends like the best player, scores when need to, like just does all the intangibles. But it's like the go-to guy. Like, yo, that's the star player. All right, we're gonna put OG on him, right? Feels like they did that with Kawhi, right? It's like, all right, that's Steph. Kawhi, you getting Steph, right? That's why I say maybe OG's like a Kawhi 2.0, but I don't know.
He's definitely got one of the best playoff moments. That dunk over Embiid in Game 6.
Yeah,
that's a portrait right there.
Yeah, and also I think to your point with Kawhi, like, yo, don't you feel like sometimes people make comparisons and your first instinct is like, yo, you're crazy. Like when you first,
but then when you start to break it down,
you're like, all right, cool, yeah, let him explain himself. And also, I think like Kawhi and OG are so versatile, right? They could
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
play the one, and then they could, back to the basket. They could
guard some centers if needed.
Yeah, if needed. Yeah, man, I don't know. Alan, do you believe this? Thibodeau's been getting a lot of heat for how often he's playing guys.
I mean, it's been like that for a decade. When a coach is that stubborn, this is how it is. And people could judge if it's a winning recipe, but he has been in the playoffs for several years. Now, can he get to that championship level? That's a whole other discussion. But I think someone as methodical and stubborn as him, he's really not going to change. But it would have been interesting if they had a fully healthy squad, how we would manage it, with Randall, with Bogdanovic. I think because you have so much talent there, just, Josh Hart shouldn't be playing 48 minutes.
Yeah.
But
well, the thing also with Randall, and I wonder how you feel about this.
He's out of there, bruh.
Yeah, that I agree with you, especially with the success that they're having. But like, I don't even factor in Randall when I'm talking about these injuries because he hasn't played in 4 months.
So it's Mitchell Robinson.
It's Mitchell, Bogdanovic. It's OG, obviously. Like, those are the ones that are more devastating because, bro, the team was good the last 4 months without him. I think the worst injuries is if, second to last game of the regular season, you blow out your hamstring and now you're done. Yeah. And now your team has to adjust into a series without you.
Since you're up in Milwaukee.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that, right? So with Randall, he wasn't playing from like January. So the team got accustomed to not having him. And then you trade for OG. So to me, I don't even factor Randall in this. And I also think it was a blessing that he's not playing because he's had some bad playoff moments with the Knicks.
Yeah.
He's been getting slandered. So maybe he's a guy that don't perform well in the playoffs. So who knows, man? But to me, I don't even factor Randall in this. My question to you, though, I have a bet that I really like. And it's going to upset Knicks fans. And it kind of upsets me, too. But we're also trying to make money on this show. Bet with your mind, not with your heart. Halliburton is 20.5 points on the Rebet app. I think he plays so much better in Indiana. I think this is one of those correlated parlays where if he goes over 20.5, I also think the Pacers win. You get plus 180 on that on the Rebet app. Use promo code VM when depositing. You'll get up to $100 matched on your deposit. How do you feel about people betting against their team?
Ooh, betting against.
Because I'm kind of, this is a bet that I've made already. And I would love to lose it, Alan, because then that means that the Knicks advance to the conference finals. But if the Knicks weren't my team, this is the bet that I would make.
Yeah. I would say don't bet against your team because then you're just going to stress the hell out watching the game. But, you know, if that is the actual bet, yeah, I think he can hit it because you got to think do or die game. Coach is probably going to be like, all right, you're going to play as many minutes as possible. If you're down, there it is. But if it's a blowout, then like, yeah, the minutes might be restricted towards the end of the game. But I think he could hit 20 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he could hit 20 and a half.
Alan,
Do or die game, yeah.
How about you?
I think the circumstances kind of align. You know, he should perform. It's kind of proven this series. You know, it's make or break time. So if you look at it objectively, I think he should do it. And you also think he's going to take more shots just because the pressure is going to be higher. And
oh yeah, he's been getting torched by the media. That how do you you're going to be an all NBA guy potentially? You're taking 6 shots in a deciding game. I think the number is 82%. Teams that win Game 5 in a 2-2 series go on to win. And like you're our guy. It was interesting because I was thinking about it. Like all the playoff teams, you can identify the one go-to scorer that every team has. It's like Indiana, it's supposed to be you, and it's not. So, like, I think he goes crazy on Friday.
Yeah. Could be triple-double.
Yeah, I mean, he got to get everybody.
Ass,
yeah,
triple-double.
Yeah.
I mean, he stacks up those numbers. He's everywhere when he's on his game. But I do wonder if this could be more of a game where McConnell plays more minutes just because he's been so good in this series. And I just think they need his defense. He's one of the few players on a team that is just, you know, scrapper. And these are the types of games where you need that scrappy presence. Especially with, you think the Knicks are going to continue to start McBride?
Shit, I think so. They played well with him.
So I think they start McBride. They maybe Indiana just.
You know what I liked about Tibbs the most, bro? And I feel like not a lot of, you see it happen in soccer a lot. Or like Real Madrid, I know you're not the biggest soccer guy. We were trying to convince Tony, like, yo, this is the summer to get into soccer, bro. You got
to be ready for 2026.
Yeah, you got the Copa America, you got Euro Cup, so it's going to be June and July. It's going to carry you into the summer. It's going to be fire. But like Real Madrid, for example, they got so many midfielders and forwards that could score. They just start everybody. And they're like, yo, we'll figure out the rest. Like, let's just put our best 11 guys out there. Tibbs did that with McBride. This has been our best 5. All right, are we a little undersized? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Do we have really 4 guards out there? Kind of have 4 guards out there with Hart, DiVincenzo, McBride, and Brunson. But, bro, it's been our best fucking 5. Might as well just put it out there and go down with the ship. So I think they start him again. And he's played well on the road, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think size really matters because it's not like Indiana's like has a huge.
You got that
it's
also.
Not like an Embiid, right?
Right.
I mean, I think the only person that probably posts up is probably Siakam, right? When he has like a mismatch. But other than that, they don't really post up like that.
I mean, even Turner hit 3 threes to start that second half. Cut the lead down from like 20 to 12. But yeah, I just think that's a bet that I made. And I try to tell people, like, is the bet that I want to happen, which would be him not to go over 20, because then I think the Knicks win, but unbiased and being objective, that's the bet that I'll make. So use promo code VM when depositing, and they'll match your deposit. And also the $100 giveaway goes to Able Resin. Hit me up, slide into the DMs, feet first, set the tone. You'll get $100 to deposit on Rebet and play with us. And Christopher Velasquez, you got your money from last week's promo. Okay, the only other series, Tony, that we haven't touched on is well,
Wolves in 7, baby.
Wolves in 7?
Wolves in 7.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the Wolf Pack, baby. Adopted member.
I don't know, bro. They kind of look rattled to me, Alan.
Mike Conley's coming back. That's one thing you can hold on to.
Hey, the only person stopping Jokic is Jokic, man. We just need him to have an off night. That's it, man. I don't think
Technically
there's
2 off
anything the
nights.
Wolves can do. Yeah. We need to. Man, he's Thanos. I don't know how to stop him, man. I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's barbecue chicken, whoever's guarding him.
Yeah, and also at the time we're recording this, the game, by the time you guys hear this, I should say, the game would have won final. So maybe it goes to 7, maybe it ends at 6. Personally, I think it ends in 6. I think
Don't put that bad juju out there, man.
I think Jokic figured him out based on what you saw the last 3 games. I regret, dude, do you remember in the playoffs when the NFL started? Us two, we made the list of the reasons for and against each team to win the Super Bowl. Remember what I told you about the Chiefs? I'm like, bro, plus 1,200 is staring me in the face. And then we made we agreed, right? Yeah. I'm not saying that you talked me out of it because I agreed with everything you said that they wouldn't make it. I was like, but man, 12-1, this team was the favorite. Like, fuck, dude.
Had to eat that one.
I kept looking at plus 1,800 for the Nuggets to win the title when they were down 2-0. But Tony, it just looked so bad in those first 2 games.
Yeah.
And I regret it, bro, because I always make dumb bets like that. And not dumb, that's a bad word, but like, oh, Minnesota's still kind of unproven. These are the champs. They're not going to go out like suckers. And then they go into Minnesota and just beat them by double figures both games. And they kind of figured out Ant-Man a little bit. Gobert, they're just, Jokic is just the barbecue chicken. Gobert is just getting torched, bro.
I don't know, at least offensively, Cat and Gobert. I know, look, Minnesota had a phenomenal season, but you play against the top tier teams. Can they coexist together? I just feel like in this series, they have not functioned well offensively. And then you have Naz Reid there, who's kind of a defensive liability, but offensively, I think he meshes well with Cat perfectly. So they kind of got that conundrum right now, and they're kind of getting exploited.
Well, I just want to say, I know Rudy Gobert gets a lot of flack because it looked pretty bad, but Jokic would do that against any center.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just give Jokic his props. Rudy is a great defender. Obviously, like, people probably think I'm biased because I'm rooting for the Wolves, but like he's good. It's just you can't do anything about it against Jokic.
Yeah, it was crazy that one. I think it was game 2 against the Lakers, where the Lakers had that 20-point
he's frying
lead.
AD, and everybody's like, "Yo, AD sucks." I'm
Bro,
like,
and AD
good,
had like
man.
32 and 16. Like, he had a monster game.
Superstars going to be superstars.
But everybody remembers him putting him in a blender on like 7 straight possessions, and he scored 18 points, I think, or like 12 points in the fourth quarter, all on AD. And that's the lasting image you have, right? It's like in football, when the one corner has been locked down for the whole game, and then on the game-winning drive, he gives up 5 passes. They're all slants, they're all underneath shit, but it just looks so bad. And the last thing you remember is, oh, bro, this corner was all pro, he got fried. And that's the same thing that happened with AD. I think the big issue with Gobert is the issue that I've had with the NBA, the NFL, NHL, every league. Stop giving out awards when the playoffs are deep into
You
the
think
playoffs.
it puts a target on their back?
I think it's the dumbest thing ever, because what you should do is, after the regular season ends, take a couple days, celebrate your league, give out all the awards, all NBA, rookie, coach, NFL MVP, comeback player of the, give it all then. You let your players rest going into the playoffs. You get to have a NFL awards night like they do Super Bowl Saturday. Have it right after week 18. You give out the MVP. It's fresh that Lamar Jackson did so well in the regular season. It's fresh that Gobert was a beast defensively. Don't give it 2 weeks after he gets bounced by Mahomes and he looks like a deer in the headlights and he can't complete a check down to the running back. Because then the lasting image is, bro, this y'all MVP. This is your defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
And I've been saying this since like the birth of veterans minimum in 2015. Stop doing this. You could celebrate your league, and then you don't have that bias of, oh shit, Lamar's the MVP, but look how bad he played. How is it not Mahomes? How is it not Jokic when Embiid gets it last year and he gets bounced, you know? So I always felt like that's what they should do. And then to your point, that's why I think Gobert was getting cooked.
Yo, let me ask you this. I don't want to get sidetracked, but did you see the comment that Coach Finch made, the Timberwolves coach? He was like, he wanted to see the itemized receipt for the fines because Rudy Gobert got fined for this, right? $75K. But Jamal Murray got fined $100,000 for like throwing an ice pack and a knee brace or whatever. On the court. Like, what's up with that, man? Is the NBA script like kicking in?
Yo, I don't know, man, but that's
Should have been suspended, man.
He should have been. He should have been.
That was Draymond Green, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But, like,
Repeat
you
of-
can't do that.
reputation.
Yeah, reputation, repeat offender of having these incidents in the past. And then I even think it's also because it's Murray. They're down 2-0. You
So
can't suspend them.
The script is activated.
mean,
I don't
there
know
wa-
if it's a script, but I think it's like, yo, Embiid should have been suspended when he hurt Mitchell.
There was talk about Westbrook potentially being suspended in round
Right.
one.
I don't have a problem with like the $100K fine, right? It's just how is Rudy getting $75K for this? Like,
Yeah.
he's just doing it by himself like this.
Yeah.
Like, how's that justifiable, man?
It's weird, man. Some of these fines, we've talked about it in the past when we were talking about the NFL fines.
Oh, NFL is outrageous.
Bro, Jalen Warren, the running back for the Steelers, got 2 personal foul penalties in the NFL, and they were the fines for each game was worth more than his game check.
That's wild.
And it's like, yo, if you look at some of the penalties and the fines that people get, it kind of feels like Adam Silver
just making up numbers.
or Roger Goodell got mad shit on the menu, and then they're like, "Hey, man, he hit someone with his helmet, 46,000." Like, because they're not arbitrary. They're just kind of just like Oprah, 46, 86, 100K. Like there's never a, all right, if you punch a player, it's 50K. No, it's 50K this time. It's 200K this time. You're a repeat offender. It's 300K, you know? So, like, I think Jamal Murray hasn't had a bad reputation, but, dude, it might go down
You
as
think it had to do anything with, like, what was it, that guy, Jonte Porter, the betting? You think he's trying to send a message like, yo, don't say the rest are getting paid off because the whole gambling issue is, like,
Bro, listen,
sensitive.
I don't know if you guys saw, I watched Caitlin Clark's debut. Also, degenerate, I bet her over 20 and a half. She landed with 20, by the way.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. First 3 minutes, 2 quick fouls. And it's like, hey, man, it was the most heavily wagered NBA, WNBA prop in all of May.
Wow.
Of all the bets. Because everyone was excited to see Caitlin Clark make her debut. And it was the most heavily wagered. So when you see that, it's the most heavily wagered prop. It's 20 and a half. 2 quick fouls on like BS fouls. I'm not saying because there's serious allegations, but the people that do think it's corrupt, there's a script, it's rigged, they kind of have a good case to be made.
Okay. Didn't want to sidetrack, but, you know.
Nah, I like it, man. I like
about
it when people ask questions too, because I think it's all interesting. And dude, like if you're a Wolves fan, how is Murray not suspended for that game?
Yeah, it was pretty one of the most aggressive things you could do.
He threw it towards the ref, too. It's like,
Bro,
not
what
a
if
player.
like Cat went up for a rebound, landed on that? Hell, what if Jokic slipped? You fucked your whole team up.
Yeah.
It's not even the opposition. It's what if one of your guys got hurt?
I think if you're gonna like operate, you gotta take. I know everyone views the playoffs. You want players missing games in the playoffs, but if you're gonna operate rationally, you have to just look at it as a game moment. Forget the playoff magnitude. Yeah, like if you're gonna call it is what it is, then he absolutely should have been suspended.
shout out, it is what it is.
Shout out, it is what it is. Let's wrap up with the Mavericks and Thunder before we talk some NFL stuff. I think that the right team is winning the series right now. I think it's been a revelation that PJ Washington and Jones are tremendous three-point shooters now for the Mavericks. The Thunder, I think what really killed them is not knowing what to do with Giddey. I know the playoffs are like very matchup dependent. He looks like a deer in the headlights. He looks like, hey, we just need the season to end because he's been through a lot this year. Outside of SGA, I think SGA right now in the league is like the most sure thing to get 30 every night. Just because of the team around him needs him to get 30. He always delivers. Bro, that like turnaround jump shot that he has, the fadeaway. Every time he shoots, I'm like, oh, that's
He's so efficient.
yeah.
He
And
gets
that-
to the line, too.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's guaranteed.
And that's the thing with him too, man. He'll have 35 on like 12 shots. and then 11 from 11 of 11 from the free throw line. Like, but they need more. And Jalen Williams has been dope this year. Still don't trust him in big spots. Chet, you know, he's a rookie. Technically not, but it's his rookie year. I think the right team is winning this series, and you know they haven't gotten anything from Kyrie, bro. I'm 0-5, Allen, on Kyrie props. I bet his over every single game. It's gone under every single time.
Was he really good in game 3, I think?
It was, but his total was higher than
high,
it was like 23.5. I don't think he went over on that because I've just been donating my money to the books. But what happens if Kyrie gets it going too, bro?
I mean, if Kyrie gets it going, then great news for the Mavericks. But yeah, I feel like, you know, Luka controls the offense, not Kyrie. Sure. You know, anytime they set up the offense, it's always going through Luka. Kyrie's almost like, all right, we need a clutch bucket. You're gonna like pull it off for us. So, you know, I always thought the same way you thought about SGA, like 30 points guaranteed. Same way I think about Luka. Like, yo, that's an automatic 30. Obviously, he's going through injuries, but I think the last game, he hit 30.
Yeah, triple-double in game 5.
Yeah, it's like that's automatic right there for me, at least. So,
A combination of defense, 3-point shooting, and just pure athleticism. Like, I love that gap for Likely. Lively or Likely?
Lively.
Think if I say it Likely. I love Derek Lively coming out of Duke. He was like just this true physical freak, and you just see, even though he only plays 20 minutes, God, he covers so much ground. And then you have Gafford, who might be one of the best like putback guys in the league, and then you put them with a playmaker like Luka, it's magic. So I think Dallas really assembled their roster really well, and it's kind of paying off in this series. I don't think it's over though. I think the Thunder still have something left. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that, you know, as good as Dallas has looked, you know, there's still times where SGA could take over, and you know, the Thunder also could get hot from 3 because they got some shooters, even though they're kind of one-dimensional, like the Joe or Wiggins.
Yeah, you know, I have a question for you guys because I wonder if I'm the only one that this happens to. And football is a different sport to be able to use this like analogy or this like breakdown. But you know, you ever watch a game in a series, and it might be early in the series, but a team might lose a game that they have no business losing, and you just immediately are like, that's going to be the reason why they don't win the series. Like, bro, I don't know how the Mavericks lost game 4.
Free throw shooting.
Yeah. That is why. But I'm saying, like, dude, they were up 4 with like 90 seconds left, and then they end up losing. Like, I still feel like that's a bad omen. And I'm currently holding a 40-1 on the Mavericks to win the whole thing. Back in March, when we did a segment on the show talking about, it was the Suns, the Lakers, the Mavericks, and the Warriors as like, yo, these might be the play-in teams. And if you could bet $100 on one team, who would you pick? And I said Luka and the Mavs. So I'm holding on to that one, both financially and also to resurface those clips for the show. But I feel like that game, man, if they end up losing this series, it'll be because of that. And also Kyrie kind of just going, I feel like the Mavs need 60 from Kyrie and Luka to like really dominate. And I know they've been, you know, they're up 3-2 at the time we're recording without that. But I just feel like Kyrie still needs to.
Yeah, because you don't think Washington's shooting is sustainable as good as he's been.
Shit, someone wrote an article about the Dallas Big Three, and I almost shit myself when I was reading it. I was like, "Come on, bro, let's not get that crazy." Even though he had a monster game early in the series where him and Luka had 29, but I don't know if it could be, bro, because like, who would have thought Josh Hart and DiVincenzo would be such key pieces on a team like that? Sometimes it's the fit and the guys you're playing with.
All right.
Right? How many times have we talked about players just going to the wrong situation? Happens all the time. So maybe for PJ, you were a lottery pick, kind of shit the bed where you're at. You get a new start. He always wanted to play for the Mavs, which was super random. Apparently he's like from there, or he grew up being a fan. And now you're no longer that main option. You're like the 4th option, but now you're part of the Big Three.
That's crazy. They swapped Grant Williams for him, right? They shipped Grant Williams out of different. Well, okay. I will say, I wouldn't be surprised if OKC did the hack a lively.
They have.
Yeah, I'm talking about the next game.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did that because I feel like that kills so much momentum. I was watching one of the games. I was like, damn, if he didn't hit those free throws, oh man, it would be so demoralizing. But, you know, he ended up hitting those free throws. So I wouldn't be surprised, man.
I mean, it's their season now. They
Yeah.
got put all stops.
Yeah. Not the best basketball. The hacker stuff.
No, it's terrible for the product, but
Yeah.
Oh, bro, Scott Foster in Game 5, Knicks Pacers. There was like a stretch in the first half where it was the Scott Foster show. The amount of replays and just him going in there and talking to the crowd about like, oh, it's a flagrant 2 initially, but now it's just a common foul, technical
this
1,
airtime
both
real quick.
teams.
when you know a referee's name 99% of the time, it's not for good reasons.
And dude, we were talking about shit being rigged. Tim Donaghy in the documentary on Netflix, his family throws the Scott Foster family under the bus. Like, hey man, this guy, things are gonna come out one day. And then Chris Paul has that one run where like he was like 0-18 in Scott Foster led playoff games.
That's concerning. And he
bro.
does the biggest games.
He does the biggest games. And there's a thing on betting and like the betting community when a team is down like 3-2 or maybe 3-1 and Scott Foster is reffing, the team that's down, they call him the extender. Because the series is just gonna extend. Oh, Scott Foster?
Say less.
Yeah. Pacers? No, if he's referencing the Pacers game on Friday.
All right, so you had
Halliburton scoring 30.
Clear the bank on Brunson's gonna have 2 fouls in like 90 seconds, and then it's a wrap. Bro.
12 free throws for Halliburton.
Yeah, that's the nickname on like NBA Twitter and NBA betting circles, like the series extender. It's nuts, man. But it's been
terrible.
Overall, the playoffs. You've been a fan of it?
Thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the Nuggets-Lakers series with those Murray buzzer beaters kind of set the tone. And, you know, we're at the 4 series, we're in 3 really good ones. And we kind of knew Boston and Cleveland was going to be a foregone conclusion. So we got to love it.
How about you?
Yeah, anytime the Knicks are in the playoffs, always good. Always good. And of course, like, you know, Timberwolves, Ant-Man might be the face of the league.
Yeah, that was going to be the last thing I was going to bring up before we went into some NFL talk before we wrap up. Shouts to Tony and Alan for joining us again. And all things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum. Face of the league, whether it's... Actually, let's just stick with NBA because NFL will get too confusing and it's probably going to be a quarterback anyway. But what's your criteria, Tony, for face of the league?
Okay. I mean, you have to have that dog in you, right? When it comes crunch time. Are you the one getting the ball or are you the one locking up the best player on the other team, right? That has to be there. And then also, I guess, are you clutch? Those are like my 2 criterias, right? Got to be clutch and you have to have that dog in you. You can't shy away from assignments like, no. Jaden McDaniels, you get him. Like, no, I want Steph. I want LeBron. Like, I want Tatum. You have to have that dog in you. That's how you become the face of the league.
How about you?
You have to be exceptional in a thrilling way. There's got to be highlight reel moments with you. And you have to play, obviously, in the biggest games. You have to be competing for championships. Regardless of how your numbers are, regardless of the highlights, you still got to be playing the biggest moments. That's why we've seen LeBron, Curry, you know, even back in the day with Kobe, like they were in the biggest moments. So if you're really going to take that mantle, your team's got to be winning 50, 60 games a year.
But you also have to win too.
Yeah.
Because then, like, you can't be like Jason Tatum, right? Like,
Right.
All right, yeah, you win a lot of games, but you never win the actual chip.
I think that's what held Melo back. As good as Melo was, he was never going to be the face because just never got there.
Also, defensively, he's like not really like a 2-way player like that.
Yeah.
But then the argument could be like, all right, Steph, right? He's not the best defensive player, but at one point, people said he was the face of the league.
Oh, I would definitely say he was the face of the league from like 2016. After he won that first MVP, even LeBron being there and the Cavs winning that series down 3-1 in 2016, I still feel like I would have said Curry was the face of the league because of the global impact too. And you got
so off the court stuff, you factor that.
Yeah, the influence.
for sure.
Yeah,
definitely,
for sure.
Definitely. Like Anthony Edwards now, 22 years old. I think he's he's probably the favorite to be the face of the league. I also think, I don't know if this is like being nationalist, but like I feel like you need to be American also, because I think there's a language barrier too.
I also think Europeans just don't care.
There's that, yes.
Look at Doncic, look at Jokic. They're Balkan. They don't care about branding.
Yeah, they want.
Giannis just wants to win.
Yeah,
Dirk back in the day, he couldn't care less. Like,
hell of a point. The culture is different.
yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. A lot of people are saying that Wemby might be the face of the league one day. Do you think he can?
We got to know more about him. He can. It's wait and see. Not his ability. His ability absolutely can. It's just, does he care about the branding? Does he care about the sponsorships? Does he want to be on social media? Because you've seen a lot of these European players. They don't care about interviews. They don't care. They'll do endorsements for the money, but they're just not caring about being consistently relevant.
Okay.
You know, they're not LeBron where he's doing podcasts or shows, or even Steph doing the Under Armour deal. Like, look at Jokic. This guy just wants to go to Serbia and live his life.
Nah, you're onto something, bro. Because I think the culture thing is a real thing. Because like Jokic, when they ask him like how you feel, he's like, we get to go home, and he's like, oh, the parade is Tuesday. I wanted to go back and like ride horses and shit and be with their families. It is a culture. But to Wemby, I think with Wemby, we need to know more about him because he's kind of like, he's kind of an unknown right now. Like we know about the talent, but is he? Can we see him on a couple podcasts, maybe to get a personality and be like, oh shit, this guy will be.
He was
dope.
on Old Man to 3. So
yeah,
that was a good look.
Because like the thing with Anthony Edwards is like he's kind of brash too. He's like, bro, who cares if they got Durant? Like we got McDaniels, and
he embraces the
and
spotlight.
I'm with SGA and Luka. Like I'm in that tier, and you know me as a wrestling fan. When he was doing this, I was like, oh, that's the face of the league for me. He was telling him to suck it, you know, going at it with Durant, like having the dog in him and not backing down. You need to have that too. But with Curry, I think with Curry was the thing about Curry that made him so special. Obviously the shooting, right? But also I think people gravitated to him because, yo, no matter what, I can't be 6'8" and dunking. Like I just physically can't. But in theory, if I worked hard enough, I could become a great shooter. And everyone could shoot. Not everyone could dunk. So there was a relatability with Curry that made him so polarizing to people. And everyone always perceived him to be the little guy because of like his stature, but he's also 6'3".
I will say, I think him slaying the king really helped.
Yeah.
Right? When you go against the top dog or the other face of the league, you win. I think that really helps.
And also before Durant went there, he was kind of doing it on his own. And like the team was very lovable because they drafted everybody. They didn't become a heel, to use the wrestling term, until Durant went there. They're like, oh, fuck these guys, man. Like, that's not fair. You had Harrison Barnes going 1 for 10 from 3. Now you get Durant in there. No shit. Of course they were going to win. That's the only time in my life I've seen a minus favorite to win a title from like the beginning.
Wow.
Like usually in the betting circles, like, you know, Kansas City Chiefs, you could get plus 600 on them right now. But bro, that first Durant year, they were minus 140. Never seen that shit. And I was like, yo, you can't bet that. They ended up winning. But like, just numbers wise, you can't bet that. So I think the face of the league is always an interesting discussion. But he's young enough and he's already making noise, has the highlights, has the dog in him.
Has the hottest selling basketball shoes out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps, man.
Yo, you know what else I like about him? He shows up to games kind of dressed in like sweatpants, hoodies, no drip.
Relatability's a big factor too.
Yeah.
You see kids come up, it's just like, all right, we could aspire to be certain things, but at least now we could be like that. Just, you know, sweats, Nikes, whatever you want to wear.
So if they come back and dethrone the Nuggets and win the championship this year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's on.
Right there.
Oh, it's on.
Okay.
Skyrocket to the top.
A lot of people are saying like 2 to 3 more years. But
Oh, no. Immediately.
Okay.
I mean, we're in a like results world. Like if we react now, like with Mbappe, and once Mbappe did his thing, he was already skyrocketed. We have to wait.
Okay. Yeah, at a young age, like why you need to see more?
Yeah,
that's what I talk
look
about.
With
Mahomes, yeah. I'm like, yo, why does he need to play another 15 years? He's already the best quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That 5-year stretch he's had, no one's ever had it. It's just been awesome. How much more time we got before we start wrapping? 15? All right, perfect. All right, let's dive into NFL schedule. Are you a fan of the schedule release?
Not really.
Not really, right? It's kind of
late August. I'm into the schedule, like because it's so far away this season, and it's just there's so much other sports going on right now. Like I'm not a fan of the NFL needing to still spotlight every week, but look, they're gonna do what they do.
Yeah. How about you?
I mean, I enjoyed some of the social rollouts.
Oh, the Chargers are always going to
You
win.
as a social guy,
You check out some of the.
Oh, the
Yeah,
Chargers are winning. Yeah, it's the one thing they win at.
Oh, so you like the Chargers? I like what the Broncos did with Hamilton. Did you see that?
oh yeah,
When
the
he's,
F1 driver, Lewis Hamilton. Yeah,
Yeah, when he's testing out like the different foods from the opponent's teams, states.
Yeah, you got to appreciate the creative aspect of it.
Yeah. I like the Miami Dolphins one with Tariq Evans. No, not Tariq Evans.
Tyreek Hill.
Tariq Hill.
yeah.
Tariq Evans, the basketball
But
player.
well, we just
Not heard that name in 8 years.
Yeah, we just did 45 minutes on NBA, so I get why it's fresh. I like the schedule, man. I like looking at, and I don't know if it's the better in me, but I like looking at when you play certain teams. I think that's very important. So a lot of people don't realize you already know who you're going to play next year also. The thing that you don't know is, are you playing third place in the NFC South or are you playing first place in the NFC? That gets determined at the end of the year. But you know who you're playing. You knew who you were playing on your schedule. You just didn't know when you're playing them. And the reason why I think it's so important is because I'll give you a perfect example, and I don't know if you caught this. I think the NFL hates the Steelers.
That's the biggest one.
Their schedule, bro. So after November 17th, they're playing all 6 of their divisional games.
Toughest division in football, by the way.
Toughest division in
debate.
football. Last year, it was the highest accumulated win totals of any 4 teams ever in NFL history. And if Joe Burrow don't go down, probably all 4 of them make the playoffs. So the Steelers play the Chiefs and the Eagles and then all 6 divisional games after November 17th. Bro, it's a bar fight every week. It's just...
So then how do you fix that then? Like, would you space it out more?
No, I don't know how you fix it.
Because
but
eventually you still got to play
But
them,
this
right?
is what I'm saying about like why I think Pittsburgh and why I like the schedule. Because, bro, Pittsburgh might start the year off 7-1. And then you're like, oh shit, Steelers 7-1. Russ, maybe he has a resurgence, so they're using Justin Fields. I'm just using it as a hypothetical because I already know Alan is not feeling this conversation.
No, just Steelers. The idea of the Steelers being 7-1 is just maybe a mad.
Crazy talk?
Crazy talk. But I'm just saying, like, for example, and then you look at the schedule, you're like, oh shit, Murderer's Row is coming. You got all the division games, you got the defending champs, and then you got arguably a top 3
Which is that Wednesday game too.
Right.
It's so awkward. No team should wait till November to play their first division game. Every team should play one of their divisional opponents in September, October. Like, no way should we have to wait till November.
Do you think it makes a difference?
Yeah, especially in a really tough division.
I mean, eventually you still got to play them, right?
Yeah, but it's the level of opponent too.
Do you feel like if they played them later on, like there might be injuries that happen?
Oh,
on the
injuries
other
always will
opposing
play a
team?
factor, especially in a sport like this. But I think it's just you want to have like a fair balance.
I get it. You don't want to bank on the other team getting
Right.
injured.
Because
All right.
one thing, you look at the schedule, they really emphasize Thursday night in particular, divisional games. Like
Well,
there's
it's also now Amazon's paid all this money. They're like, hey, we can't have Jacksonville and the Raiders. We need to have...
we can't have Bears, Panthers again.
Yeah, we can't do that. You need to give us some divisional games. The Thursday night slate is a lot better this year than like years past. I know the Giants and Cowboys are on Thanksgiving. It's like, bro, why do the Giants have 3 primetime games?
New York.
They're winning 3 games.
New York.
It's just bad. So for me, that was the one that really jumped out to me. I think that was crazy. Christmas is on a Wednesday. They got 2 Netflix games.
Which I just found out. Like, damn, I didn't know Netflix was streaming live games.
Well, now they're getting into that, man. They got a lot of good success with the Tom Brady roast, and I think that was the next evolution. Like Monday Night Raw is going to Netflix, and now they're going to go into the NFL space, and they kind of did that with Peacock with the playoff game.
Yeah,
like, bro, the amount of people that didn't know where to find the Chiefs and Dolphins game in the playoffs are like, wait, I got to download this app. I remember my dad called me. He was furious. He's like, yo, why can't I see Mahomes? I was like, yo, you got to download this app. He's like, they need
the
more
older
money?
demographic is just hating this.
Oh, bro, yeah, they hate it. It's like, you have all these apps. My dad, because now that I'm back home, I put Amazon Prime on and we were watching the Juventus game today. They clinched the Coppa Italia. And he goes, bro, we cut cable to save money, and now we're paying like $250 in apps Netflix, Prime, Peacock, Hulu,
Paramount.
like all this shit. He's like, bro, bring back cable, dude. What the fuck? And now people are gonna have to pay for Netflix too.
Right.
I mean, even though they have a bunch of users, but
they're putting more games on ESPN Plus. Like it's just look, they're trying to expand. I think the biggest highlight though, I love the fact they're going to Brazil. I think Brazil is a hot market that is starting to be more excited about football, and you're bringing the Eagles and the Packers, two rabid fan bases to a country like Brazil, and you're doing it right away, which I think is cool. There's gonna be a lot of anticipation. Two teams that there's gonna be a lot of buzz for. I think that's one of the best moves they did, and to do it on a Friday right after the opening night, well done. You know, I know people are hating that it's on Peacock, but I think that's probably one of my favorite thing about the schedule is just the fact that the timing of it. And just to open the season up with Ravens Chiefs. I know some people are like, oh, they should wait till November. Like, let these teams build it up and let's get like, imagine if they're like 10-2 and 9-3 and they clash. But I mean, we're going to be excited about that matchup regardless. If Lamar's healthy, Mahomes is healthy, the game's going to be great.
Yeah.
So I love how they set it up. And Sunday night opener, why not do it again, Rams-Lions? Those are two teams everyone loves watching. So I think they really nailed the week one slate. And I know the Monday night game. Why not ring it back?
Yeah. Rodgers going up against the Niners, Jets-Niners. I agree with you, man. And also, like, Packers got Brazil colors, right? The yellow and green. So maybe immediately
they were digging like you were digging, like, ouch.
They were plotting.
Yeah.
I think they were plotting. The last thing I want to mention, bro, before we wrap up is the biggest misconception about schedule releases is like strength of schedule. You hear strength of schedule. And shout out to Warren Sharp, friend of the program. He's been on the show. Always read his stuff, always was a big fan of his stuff, and continue to be a big fan of his stuff. He put something into my mind a couple of years ago, and I think it's very important. You can't look at strength of schedule from a team's wins the year before because there's so much turnaround. You got to look at, and what he does is he evaluates your schedule. So we'll look at the Falcons, for example. What are the teams the Falcons are playing in 2024? What is their win totals? What are they expected to be? Let's not worry about what they were in 2023 because, bro, there's so much turnover. And then also the other thing that I'm doing a better job of is how important is strength of schedule? Because let's look at last year. If you had the Bengals and the Jets on your schedule and you were playing them in November and December, you're like, shit, man, we got Rodgers and Burrow. Well, those guys end up getting hurt. So that game that you thought was, oh my God, every fan does win, loss, coin flip and shit. Well, those games now are wins, or you have a better chance at winning. So I just think the NFL is so crazy with the week to week. And last year it was death row for quarterbacks. Every week a star quarterback went down. I just think it's something that I'm doing a better job of, like, all right, yeah, it's important. Yeah, Steelers play in 6 of their last 8 division games in a 2-month span. Like, that's important. But also, like, maybe pump the brakes a little. I'm talking, like, to myself now. Like, all right, you got a hard schedule now, but like, what happens if, knock on wood, pray no injuries on anybody, but what happens if Dak pulls a hamstring and he's out for 6 weeks? Cowboys are one of the worst teams in the league. So then that Cowboys game looks a lot more favorable. That's what I'm saying about the schedule.
It's longer season. We've seen more injuries occur. We see more teams invest in their backup QB. It's just you can look at maybe September, October, but it's looking at November. Things are going to change. So I understand people get excited about the schedule. They want to assess all the opponents, but I don't know. Just do it casually. I just don't think like examining every opponent. It's just you're putting way too much time that things are going to rapidly change. So, wait, can we mention that the NFL, I don't know what happened with Germany, their relations, but they go from putting Brady there, Mahomes and Tua and the Dolphins. Now they got Giants, Panthers. This is what we're doing to Germany. I know Germany's hosting the Euros. They're going to be living up this summer, but...
2 teams that are going to win, best case scenario, 7 games combined this year.
That's so brutal. Like, what happened with Germany? That's another country that loves football.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. That Jets-Vikings game, by the way, man, Justin Jefferson, Sauce Gardner, I hope the English crowd appreciates that type of matchup. Yeah.
What team you root for? I don't think I ever asked you this.
Well, when the Giants were winning, I was rooting for the Giants.
So
I jump on the
18
bandwagon,
months,
baby.
18 months ago. Or 2 years ago.
No, I think it was longer than that, man.
Even then, they weren't really winning.
Yeah.
Oh, they won 11. They won a playoff game not too long ago.
Yeah.
I mean, but like, it's almost
you want sustained success.
Yeah, it was almost like the jumping back on a Knicks bandwagon, right? It's just like, I know the Knicks are gonna nick.
You know, I respect you way more now that you're at least honest about it.
Oh,
You're just
hell yeah,
I'm
man.
jumping on the
Oh
bandwagon.
yeah, Kansas City, baby. That's where we at.
Yo, can we mention Kansas City plays every day but Tuesday this upcoming season?
Oh shit.
Oh shit, the NFL script is in.
I'm just saying, literally, they play every day but Tuesday because they got the Wednesday game.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're gonna have Sunday, Monday, Saturday.
And then Thursday.
They're gonna have a Thursday. Friday, they got the Black Friday against the Raiders.
Oh yeah.
So they literally like we're putting you every day.
God damn, man.
Dude,
That's wild.
so
I
that's
didn't know
just
that. That's a good call by you. Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. I think now is when people, like NFL. Now people are gonna talk about the schedule for another week or two, and then before you know it, it's voluntary training camp, and who's the asshole that don't show up because he needs a new contract, and
franchise tag.
then it's. I mean, for us too, and now Tony, we're gonna drag Tony into this. You get Copa America and Euro. That's gonna take us to middle of July.
You gotta get behind a South American country and a European country.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, noted.
Well, to be fair, you might actually could get into North American because there's some North American
Yeah,
teams.
yeah,
I mean, you could go full USA this summer.
USA is gonna be in it. That's
Yeah.
gonna be a big step for them. But we'll do some soccer stuff in the near future. Shout out to our guy here in the studio. Shout out to WTF Studios for letting us come in here and record. Alan, thanks for coming on. Let the people know where they can find you.
Alan Strk, that's ALLENSTRK.
And Tony.
At Mr. Tony Mui, that's MrTonyMui on all social platforms.
At Nick Dais Tenors, you can find me all things Veterans Minimum or at Veterans Minimum. And we'll catch you guys next time.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be